and welcome to EDT 511. This brief video will basically walk us through together the Education Technologies and Emerging Media Handbook. This student teaching handbook will be sort of vital as we complete the student teaching process together. Now again, I keep on using the word student teaching. I don't want anybody to get too worried. This is a 90-hour college supervised practicum. So you're going to spend 90 hours of student teaching. So I know all of you have already done your student teaching, maybe perhaps recently or even years ago. This is not that same experience. Okay, so let's sort of walk through this one at a time. So here's where we sort of start off here with this particular book, and we'll kind of work our way down through here. Here's the table of contents. There's a lot here, and the first few, like 10, 12 pages are all really about the college and educational standards and our mission statements. So this is all certainly very, very important. So please read through that. So there we have our mission statements. Again, Canisius College's purpose is a Jesuit university. The whole framework of the School of Education and Human Services. So please go through that. Here we put in the ISTE standards. So this is the standards that are vital to your student teaching experience. Also be essential as you prepare for the New York State exam to become an education technology specialist. Okay, so this is also very, very important. So you walk through these. So please go through the standards. And these are the college's dispositions on page 10, just what they expect from professionals in this particular area. Okay, now for EDT 511 students, please skip page 13. If you recall, earlier in the program, during EDT 503, 504, 505, and 507, you had to do those 10-hour field experiences. This is basically a guide for those students. And now we sort of throw through it here, and most of this handbook deals with the EDT 511 experience, but here is that one piece for them, okay? So please just disregard this. Now, this is essential for us, okay? This is the supervised field experience for the college, and we want to make sure we understand that. And we have our first bullet there about, working with a college supervisor. I will be your college supervisor. It's the responsibility of the student to select their setting for the field experience, and with the approval of the director, myself, okay? Working through down, the mentor will assist the student teacher in selecting the experiences and accomplishing all the sort of outcomes. So the mentor teacher that's working with you, all right, is vital in this process. So this is sort of a three-person team: the student teacher, the college supervisor, and sort of the mentor teacher at the particular institution. Okay. For point 4, this is an online, certainly, course. We want to meet together as often as we can, but maybe we could use Google Hangouts, even phone conversations to facilitate that. And the student teacher is going to do a lot of reflecting and recording throughout that. And at the end of the process, the student teacher should arrange for his mentor or her mentor to basically submit an evaluation, which we'll get to, and a written letter of completion. All right. Now, here's sort of the descriptions of all the field experiences, and we're not going to spend, won't have to read through this word for word, but the first part I highlighted there is the student teacher will be provided substantial responsibilities that increase over time in amount and complexity, and they should be involving direct interaction and involvement with students, staff, whenever possible, parents, school, and community leaders. Okay. So the minimum is 90 hours, and you're going to have a mentor and a college supervisor. All right. And again, the focus of this whole experience is using technology for learning. All right. There's a lot of things you can do: traditional classroom, technology centers, working in maybe in administrative offices, wherever technology is being incorporated for perhaps students and for curriculum development. Okay. Here's all the prerequisites, and then there's the goals. So certainly want to read through that. And these are the guidelines, right? As I already stated this, the student teacher will select the site. The program director will approve of that. We'll use Google Hangouts whenever possible to maybe conference. There'll be at least one conference. Now, there's going to be, I'll get to this later, 2 observed lessons. And it'd be nice if we could have that conference somewhere in the middle of those 2 observed lessons. Okay. The student teacher will maintain a record, and we'll talk about that record in a moment. All right. There'll be 2 formal evaluations, each done by the cooperating teacher and the college supervisor. Okay. And then at the end, there's this interim evaluation. There's a final evaluation. There's the SPA forms, which we'll all get to in a moment here. Okay. So common experiences. You go through this page, there's 7 common experiences, and there's 3 more on the next page. And this is going to be the basis for your reflections. Everything that you do in this particular course will basically be revolving around these lists of required experiences. Okay? Now, we're also asking you to find some related readings, whether it be from a scholarly article, a book, a report, something that relates to each of the common experiences, and to do a write-up about that and use APA formatting. So that could be incorporated with this reflective journal or as a separate assignment. And we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, and then the rest of the common experiences. Now, a big part of this experience together is documentation. One of the first things you'll submit is a field experience agreement form and a site profile. And there's more on that later in this handbook. And there's also details in Appendix 2 and 3. You'll have to develop a technology plan, which will be maybe part of your journal. And the journal's a big part, so please read through this reflective journal piece where you're going to be kind of going through each of those experiences and sort of documenting what you did to fulfill those experiences. And there's a template for that on Appendix 4, and there's the rubric for that at the bottom. This should be an ongoing journal. Please don't wait till the end of the time here to put this together. As you're working through it, keep on writing it, reflecting on it, maybe changing your opinions, and this is something that we should be periodically shared with the mentor and the college supervisor. Okay, and there will be an online portion of this, which I'll get to in a moment. Now, there'll also be leadership and student performance. Okay, we've selected 3 of the most important of these common experiences: the needs assessment, the evaluation of the instructional program, the technology plan, and you're going to try to then also add more about that, about leadership. You're reflecting on how, as a coach, how would you carry out these tasks and be a leader. And there's also the rubric that will be used to evaluate this leadership piece. So again, this can be tied to the reflective journal or it could be a separate piece, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, now, lesson observations are really, really important. And there's a form that will be used by both the college supervisor and the mentor teacher to evaluate the student teacher. That'll be 2 evaluations, so that's really important. So there's issues about that, so please look at that, please. Then there's be a sort of interim evaluation of the overall student's performance to that point, and then there'll be a final evaluation at the end. And those are all submitted online, and the link for that under section B is right there for you. All right, then finally there's this specialized professional association evaluation, the SPA, which is a really big part of all this. And again, that will also be done online, and that's also filled out by the cooperating teacher, the mentor teacher. So that's another form that must be completed. Okay. Then there'll also be a checklist, and that's also at Appendix 6, which we'll get to in a moment here. Okay. This is not for EDT 511. This is, again, for those students in the other previous courses for their 10-hour field experience, so please disregard this. But page 25, this is the field experience agreement. Now, we're going to need this fill out twice, unfortunately. There's a link there for the PDF version of this form, which will be a PDF fillable form. Please fill it out and submit it to the program director. And then there's also a link to a Google Doc version of the form, and also please fill that out. I know it's kind of redundant to do it twice, but just helps us for our record keeping. Okay, now, this is the appendix area now, Appendix 3, which is getting into what you have to do for the actual site profile. This is where you have to kind of analyze where you're actually doing your student teaching. There's a lot of questions we want to know and data and things like that. It's good to know. So please follow these directions for the site profile. And Appendix 4 is basically the template for the journal. This is great. Every single experience is listed and it's tied to the ISTE standards, and it gives you a great sense to kind of make this an ongoing active journal. When you get to after experience 10 there's also an online version of this form. This particular video doesn't show it, but if you click on the link, click here for digital version of this journal. That's not a link in this version, but it is in the version that you have. That's what we're going to want to fill out. That is actually a Google Doc, which is super easy to use. And please have your mentor teacher as a collaborator on that document so they can comment. And also myself, the college supervisor, add me as well as a collaborator in that document so I can comment. This is an ongoing reflective journal. Okay, so this is a really important area here. Here's Appendix 5 of all the different forms and evaluations, the 2 lesson observation forms, the student teaching evaluation form, and finally the SPA. This is the form that will be used by both the college supervisor and the mentor teacher to analyze and evaluate the student's lessons. Now, this is actually the college's overall form they use for all student teaching. So some of it, we realize, may not be as pertinent for someone who's already a fairly experienced teacher who already has their initial certification. That might not be the best, but we're going to keep it consistent with all of the other college forms. And here's the second page of that form. And again, things about classroom management and professionalism. I realize it may not relate specifically to technology, especially the area about responding and how many times we respond and so forth. But do the best we can with this. The college wants us to have some consistency, and they want everybody to use the same lesson observation form. Okay? Now, this is the only a paper copy of the interim and final evaluation. This will be done all online, but if people want to get sort of a sense of what's going to be asked on that online form, you can sort of go through all this. Again, this is the college's overall form for all areas, all candidates, all programs. Okay? And this is our sort of SPA. So this is good for us. So this is all about technology. It's all about the ISTE standards. So this is also online only, but this is the paper version of the form. And lastly, this is your checklist. So very, very important. Make sure both the student teacher and the mentor teacher have everything in place, everything is completed, and all the forms are ready to go. Okay? So hope this video helped you. Also watch the Edmodo orientation video, because the main goal was to take all this stuff from the handbook and put it on Edmodo in a very easy to follow format. Okay? So hope this helps, and have a great day. Thank you.